Welcome to this weekly tarot reading for personal growth and inner healing. So as always, we're going to start with what is the weekly lesson for us this week. Interesting, we got the Three of Pentacles. And if I remember correctly, actually, the Three of Pentacles was what to watch out for last week. And it makes sense because the Three of Pentacles is not a bad card. It's just something, I guess, that we sometimes have to lean more into or lean out of. And that is about teamwork and team building and what are you constructing, because it's about more like forward and future planning. And so the week lesson today is about teamwork and about what is your role? Where do you fit in to your team or to your family or your community? What are you building? Do you each have different roles? Are they well assigned? Do you like your role? Are you wanting to change that? Or do you like to keep your role and maybe develop it or become more, specialized? I think that's what this card is asking. And I love this particular card in this deck, which is the Considerate Cat Tarot. And it's this sweet little cat and it's trying different things out and it's drawing and until it gets maybe somewhere where it is satisfied with the drawing. And it's actually kind of a messy process because if you see, he's gotten paint all over himself. And I think that that is what is maybe the week's lesson this week, is to remember that while we're learning and trying things out and trying to also find our place in the community or the team, or whether it be at work, the family, maybe your friend group, nothing is fixed. And so it's always about readjusting, finding your place. Well, that can sometimes be messy, but it can also need experimenting. And so it's almost like trying things on for size. So that is what the soul lesson is. What to watch out for this week. All right, we got, interesting, the Mother of Pentacles. So what one of your weaknesses that might show up this week is about the Mother of Pentacles. And Pentacles are all that have to do, interestingly enough, this is also a pentacle, the first one. Pentacles often are considered about our finances and our careers, and of course they can be, but they have more to do with anything that takes time to build, something that is meaningful to you, but that takes time to build. And the mothers are those who have kind of grown through the suit of Pentacles, and they're very kind of wise and nurturing and mothering, and they're there to help you. Maybe it's for you that you're going to feel this, or maybe you're giving too much. Maybe again, in this community or this group that you're in, and you're trying to find your new place and how it's going to kind of rearrange as we shift and mutate, because that's always the way it is in all relationships. Nothing is fixed. And so as we grow, it can be perhaps that you're going to want to take on a more mothering or nurturing, or taking maybe too much of that on and feeling maybe as if it's like either it's calling you because that's always what you've done, or maybe you're going to feel as if like somebody is taking that role and that's making you feel funny. But I think it's also just about remembering to watch out, not to be tempted to overgive, not to be tempted to be in control or to try and like always be the person who is doing everything perhaps for everybody or making sure that everybody is cared for. But it's also about caring for yourself. So yeah, it's about being careful not to perhaps overextend what you're giving out to others. What are your strengths for this week? Let's have a look. So we got actually the Father of Swords. Interesting to see that we have this, maybe the weaknesses is more feminine this week, and the strengths are more in your masculine side. And that's a really interesting thing to know. And so swords in tarot have to do with our thoughts and our mind and our truths and our personal truths and kind of like our thought patterns. And so what I think is really interesting is that I think while you're learning to find your new space in your group, community, workplace, and you're noticing perhaps this, I think that is your strength, is to be able to notice and to be aware and to be very conscious of what your mind is doing and where is it going. And actually, even if you're finding yourself being pulled to wanting to give more and wanting to be kind of like over giving, I think actually your strength this week is that you're going to notice it. And so in a way, that is the first step in changing anything, is to notice it. Because if you don't even notice it, you don't even know that you need to change it. And again, this might not be a bad thing. It might not be that you want to give up that part of yourself completely, but you might just be aware of all the times that you're like, oh, interesting, my heart is getting pulled in that direction, or I'm feeling like I'm obligated to give, or I feel guilty if I'm not. This card is all about that. It's just about noticing your thoughts and being more in control of them, having a little bit less emotion and being able to see things very clearly. And I love in this particular deck too, there's just that nature and being out there and seeing the transformation that all this can happen. And I think that's also the strength this week, is that you see, even through perhaps the things that you need to work on, that you are growing and changing. And so I think there's also a lot of compassion that you can be giving yourself. And that might be a strength that you're giving yourself this month, is that you're actually able to see that despite the fact that you might be needing to grow and change and evolve a little bit, you're still actually seeing the progress and seeing yourself through that loving light. Because as we grow, we also need to love ourselves through our mistakes and as we grow, so that we don't just love ourselves once we get to the other final destination, but we love ourselves along the way. So I want to end this reading, as always, with a message of love from our higher self and our guides. And guess what? We got the Three of Cups again. And that's crazy because, again, I think we got that card last week too, but almost like in a different combination. But again, this time it's like, what is the week? The week is about the Three of Pentacles. And what are you? The message of love from your guides and your highest self is the Three of Cups. And the Three of Cups is all about community and celebration and coming together. And so I think it's about realizing that even if you're changing your place and changing your role, and that maybe you're going to be adjusting this part of yourself in the role that you usually have, there is still celebration, and that there's still joy, and there's still coming together, and that you don't need to feel as if by changing, you're going to be giving up this community or this group of people that you love, whether that be your friends, your colleagues, your family. That even if you're adjusting and getting into a new place, there will still be love and celebration and happiness and people wanting to be there with you, and you are going to be part of the group. Again, as I mentioned last week, it's interesting to have these two cards that are both threes, because threes in tarot have to do with basically like building something, because you have one and one is like, when you have two, it's a partnership, but three is a creation. And so while you're creating, sorry, the card fell, while you're creating this new identity in the group, you were creating something new, and there will be celebration at the end. So it just might be a bit awkward as you find your new positioning in it, and as you maybe have to let go a little bit of this side of yourself. But there is definitely going to be celebration at the end. So on that, I'm wishing you a lovely week. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next week.